I wanted to say before we start this video is that these are questions somebody asked me, and I know this isn't like a very long video with like 50 questions, but I am starting school on Monday, so I was thinking it was fun to make a video of that. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and enjoy. Alright, hi guys. So welcome back to my channel. I am gonna be doing a school Q&A video, and I have some questions that I personally DM'd some people, and I'm like, hey, can you give me questions for this video? So I'm gonna be answering some of your questions. So the first question is, how do you do YouTube while going to school and working at Domino's? So right now, I'm on online school. I go back to school on Monday, but I've been online since before winter break, or yeah. And I've been online, and I was able to do videos right after school. After I've done everything, I was able to do videos on Wednesday, because Wednesday is kind of like my asynchronous day, to where there's like no Google meetings, and some of my teachers don't give out assignments except for makeup work for Wednesday. So I get done around like 11:30, 12 o'clock on Wednesday, so I'm able to make YouTube videos. On the weekends I do work, but I work at a later time, so I record videos before I work, and then I upload them after work and then edit them. So that is how I can manage YouTube, school, and working all on the same time. Or sometimes it's stressful to where I'm like, I don't post that much on YouTube for 1 week, and everybody is like, why aren't you posting? And I'm like, because I've been doing school and things like that. The second question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I would maybe be 21 or 22 in 5 years. So I would say maybe graduating college and getting into the culinary field a little bit more. Maybe having my own apartment and things like that, and be fully moved out of both of my parents' house. So I think that's where I'm gonna be in 5 years. I don't know really. Who's your favorite teacher is the next question. I don't really know who's my favorite teacher, because I haven't gotten to know my teachers as much this year because of online and being online. So I would have to say culinary, because I've been in culinary since middle school and I've always enjoyed it. So I would say my culinary teacher is my favorite teacher. What's your favorite subject in school? It would have to be culinary, and I know it's not a main subject. It would have to be culinary, a cooking class, because I love cooking. I've been in a cooking class since middle school, and I've always wanted to go down like and cook for anybody. So cooking is my favorite subject, and I get a very high grade in that class every time. So I'm like, cooking is my best subject. The next question is, what's the worst thing in school? So there is kind of like a long story of it, but when the bell rings for you to go to passing period and there's not enough time to use the restroom in between, because you have to go from one class to another class, and they're far apart or across the school, and you can't use the restroom and you're late to one class, or if you use the restroom you barely are late and your teacher marks you absent. That's the worst thing. And when you can't use the restroom 5 minutes before class and 5 minutes at the end of class, because 5 minutes before is because when you get inside the classroom, because you don't have time to use it between passing period and you ask your teacher, hey, can I use the restroom, get a drink of water, they say no because they're like, you were able to get your bathroom break or your water break during passing period, when really I couldn't because I was going from one class to another class and they were across the whole school. So I was like, okay. And then at the end of the class, because we're like clean up and things like that, but sometimes a lesson goes until the very end of class, and sometimes notes go until the very end of class, until like the last 5 minutes of class, and then I'm like, I couldn't use the restroom during those notes because I didn't want to miss anything or miss the lesson. So I'm like, I waited for the last 5 minutes, and they're like, no, because you're about to leave. And I'm like, like, I was like, I'll be quick, like things like that. So that is the worst thing that could possibly happen. The next question is, if school didn't exist, what would you do? I would go and find things that are related to the subjects in school and go teach myself some things. I would go and search up some things on the internet and print out some worksheets to do or things like that. Or I would go and explore and see what things I could come up with every day, because I'm like, even though there's subjects, they're still like outside of school, there's still like school, like you still learn right outside of school. Or I could work a lot more if there wasn't school or anything like that, and I could like learn a lot more things, probably be able to do more things. So that's what I would do if school didn't exist. The next question is, do you prefer online school or normal school? I personally struggle with online school. It's because sometimes teachers have meetings to where you can't like go in, or sometimes you try to ask a question or email the teacher for asking questions and they don't respond to your email, and you're just afraid to turn on your microphone because you know that a bunch of people in your one class will make fun of you for asking questions for an easy problem that they can do. It's like, I struggle because I used to have an IEP, and it's still kind of hard to do things without that IEP because I had it for so long that I struggle to do things. So I try to like ask for help right after school, or I try emailing, but my teachers don't listen to the email well. So I prefer regular on like in school, normal school. It's because I'm like, I could ask for help. I could go up to the teacher privately and be like, hey, I need help, without having a bunch of other classmates listening to me talk and talking about my grade in front of the teacher, or without the teacher not reading my email on things. And yeah, I prefer in school because I'm like, I can focus a lot more without being distracted. I could focus without being distracted and things like that. So I'm like, I prefer normal school because I can get a lot more help than online school, where I tend to struggle. So I'm like, if I had to choose one, I would say normal school would win. The next question is, what's something your school needs to change? Something my school needs to change is that, like, we have a bunch of clubs, but some of the clubs people don't like because it doesn't represent them. So we need like to change like some of the clubs that are like boring and change it to some clubs that are like, that will help people and will be fun for people. Like, I would love to open up a club for people who have been bullied, so we can just make posters for like supporting each other and doing a club about like for the people who are struggling or the people who are getting bullied, so we can make a club and like just talk about the reasons why bullying is bad and things like that. And I would love to do that because I'm like, that would be a club that I would love to enjoy, and I want to make a club like that, but I don't know how to. I might like see what I can do to do it, because I'm like, it would be really, really cool if I can open up a club just for that and let people in, and so we can talk about like different, like how to cope with bullying, what we can do if we are getting bullied, and encourage each other to like stand up for each other and things like that, because a lot of people don't stand up for each other at our school, and it's very, very, very hard to like do that. So I'm like, it would be cool if I open up my own club, and that's something that we need to change, is that some of the clubs are so boring, or some of the clubs seem fun but they don't seem fun, or it's just like doesn't, or a club that doesn't make sense and that will probably not help us outside of school. So I'm like, one, I would want some of the clubs to change to like clubs that we actually would need outside of school, like actual clubs that like things like that, like after school club of, I don't know, but I would love some of the clubs to change to other things that we would want. And the last question is, what's your favorite thing about the school? My favorite thing about the school is I love when they do a lot of like the curricular activities, like the pep rallies or the football games, or just any game in general, or we have a bonfire every October, or it seems like every October, around something like there, and it's just so much fun to do, because it's like we have a lot of things to do, and I love all the curricular activities and things like that, because I'm like, that's how people can open up to making more friends, is having a lot of school events and having a lot of school activities, because I'm like, I would love to be in more school activities and things like that, and it would be amazing. So that was the end of today's video. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. Comment below like your answers to these questions, and follow the Instagram for this YouTube channel. It will be on the screen and also in the link in the description. And I'll see you in the next vlog, guys. Bye!